girl. I'm actually going to be sharing some memorable moments that I have with the PS1 from childhood to nowadays. Let's dive in! Tama games, my favorite platforming series entirely on the PlayStation 1. And I'll never forget the first time that I popped in Tama 1 and played it. I was so enamored with the 2D graphics. I love the music, the gameplay, throwing little piggies around. It was such a fun time for me. And then I actually was able to experience the second one, which was Tama 2. I'll never forget renting this game at a local rental store that was here. I was really the only one that rented this besides somebody else. I don't know who they were, but apparently whenever it was out, it was only one other person according to the clerk. But I would rent the hell out of this game just to be able to beat it, and I finally was able to. Funny thing is, I owned this one growing up, but not this one because I don't know why my dad wouldn't get it for me, but that's okay. I finally was able to get it with one of my very first paychecks whenever I finally started, working whenever I was in my late teens. So I was very excited to finally add this to my collection. Soul Blade. I'll never forget kicking my brother's ass in this game whenever I was younger. Sophitia was always my main, and of course this is a prequel to the Soul Calibur series, and of course I'm still a Soul Calibur fan. That's one of the few fighting genres I do still occasionally play. Tekken is more prevalent in my life whenever it comes to fighters nowadays. However, I revisited this recently, and I played it a different way, which is funny. I actually beat the game using the PlayStation 1 fishing rod. Now, funny thing is, I never owned one of these bad boys whenever I was younger. It would have definitely been handy with some of the fishing games, as far as PlayStation 1 goes. But this is a little tip for you guys. You can actually play Soul Calibur using the fishing rod for the PlayStation 1. Now, a lot of people are familiar with the fishing rod controller for Dreamcast, and you can actually play Soul Calibur with that. So this is compatible with this too, if you didn't know. And I actually beat the entire game using this. My sister swears up and down that we actually play Mega Man Legends. I don't remember playing this at all, so this is something that's on my to-play list at some point. However, I recently just came across a copy of this, Tron Bonne. Now, Tron Bonne, as y'all know, is one of those elusive titles that a lot of collectors like to get their hands on because it's not very common to see. And for me, this is the only time I've ever actually seen this one in person, so I had to snatch it up, especially for the price that I got it for. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about experiences with PlayStation 1 games and PlayStation as a whole. So I've actually played some of this already, and I love it. It is so weird. It's like a mixture of RPG, adventure game, and puzzle game all wrapped into one game. So it has a little bit of everything for everybody to experience. So basically you play as Tron Bonne. You're actually trying to save your friend because he got captured because he owes a huge debt. So you have to pay that debt off, and you actually have your little boss to help you along the way. Now, I will say that the boss remind me a lot of Lego pieces, so that's definitely one of the things that I like about this game. It's got that cutesy factor. From a trade from a buddy of mine, through a stack of PS3 games, I got Rival Schools. Now, we're diving into Capcom here. When it comes to fighters, as I mentioned before, I don't play a lot of them like I used to, mainly Tekken and then sometimes Soul Calibur. But I had never played Rival Schools before, never played the sequel Project Justice I think it's on Dreamcast. I don't have that one yet, still need to get it. Anyway, I had no experience with this game prior, and little did I know that this game was going to whip my fucking ass twofold. Now, it is difficult. It's a 3D fighter. You play against, other rival schools. Literally, you're a school and you're fighting against rival schools in this, two-player tag team thing. But the thing is, the moveset's definitely different. It wasn't something that I was used to. What the hell am I doing? And some of these matchups in this game are insane. This game was literally wiping my ass through the floor. And whenever I got to the final boss, I'm like, oh my God, did I not beat this dude? And I was finally able to conquer this fucking game, and I could say I finished Rival Schools. More fighting games, this time from Bandai, Gundam Battle Assault 1 and Gundam Battle Assault 2. Now, I'm a big mecha fan, especially for Gundam Wing. That's what got my love started for any kind of mecha anime. And naturally, when I found out that these existed, I had to play them. Now, my buddy Dan actually gifted these to me. Shout out to him for being so kind to add these to my collection. And yes, I played through them both, and yes, I've beaten them both. Big Sam! You'll get that if you've watched Game Grumps. But anyway, my favorite of the two would probably be Gundam Battle Assault 2 because of the fact that, it's more adverse to Gundam Wing, so I definitely pay homage to that. Now, I will tell you something right now. That Wu Fei fight, he was kicking my ass 2 ways from fucking Sunday, but I managed to whoop his ass in the end. I'm a glutton for punishment because growing up, I only played Mega Man X 1, 2, and 3. Loved them, beat them, had a good time with them. The only one I own for Super Nintendo still is Mega Man X because Mega Man X 2 and 3 are fucking expensive, but I do eventually want to get them for my collection again. It would be nice to have them. Little did I know there were some on PlayStation 1. There's also some on PlayStation 2, but we'll get into that another day. Now, I didn't know how these would be. I'm like, oh, they'll probably be like Mega Man X will be fun. They won't be too hard. They are. Now, except for this one. Now, Mega Man X4, I didn't play it this way. This one was probably, I want to say, the second one I played on PS1 when it came to the X series. And let me tell you, I did everything that I could do with this one, and I had a better time with this one than I did any of the other ones. And this one would honestly be probably a lot of people's favorite whenever it comes to the Mega Man X series on PlayStation 1. It is noted as the best one on PlayStation 1, and I agree, because it's not as bad as these for obvious reasons, because it's a little bit easier to maneuver in the levels, and it's pretty forgiving with some things. So definitely recommend Mega Man X4 if you want to try a Mega Man game for PlayStation 1. Now, the ones that I don't recommend, unless you're just, like I said, you want to get it on with fucking hard bullshit. If you got that skill level, man, play these. Now, I will say Mega Man X5 was actually the first one I played for PS1. This one's still a fever dream to me because I don't know how the fuck I got through it, but I managed to. This game is hard as shit. I think there's a level to where you have to ride like a little motorbike, and it took me forever to fucking get through that shit. But I managed to beat it, got through it. Now, the hardest one on PS1 is notorious for a lot of people quitting and not pursuing any more of the X series is Mega Man X6. I can't tell you how many people have told me, man, I couldn't beat that game. It was fucking hard. And there's a reason this game is fucking hard. It's the levels. The levels are so fucking crazy, especially if it goes into nightmare mode. You have, like, so many obstacles to go through. It's insane how these levels are designed. Literally, Capcom had their fun, had their laughs whenever this fucking game was made. Let me tell you something. Now, I will say this. I was able to beat this game and do the impossible jump. The one that people struggle with a lot whenever it comes to the shadow armor, because you have different armor sets, and shadow armor, is the one that people are, trying to get. And I got it, and I made that fucking jump. And that was probably one of the highlights of this year for me, is fucking making that jump. Not beating the game, but making that jump. I was so excited. I really was, because you don't know how many times I failed to make that jump, and when I finally did it, man, it was such a euphoric feeling. It kind of felt like whenever you're playing a Souls game and you beat a fucking boss. That's how it felt to get that damn jump. Tactical RPGs bored the crap out of me. Well, I started to actually turn my eye to other things whenever it comes to RPGs, which is, of course, like I just mentioned, tactical RPGs. And the one that I tried that actually captured my attention, that I fell in love with, Rhapsody: A Musical Adventure. I was like, okay, it's short, it's not too long, it might hold my attention, and boy, did it. The story, the music, everything about this game is top-notch. It was one I'm like, okay, I want to try more tactical RPGs, and I bought a couple more to actually give a chance to, because I feel like that I missed out on so much just because I was bored with the ones that I played. Not every one of them are the same. So definitely whenever it comes to genres, especially RPGs, don't be afraid to reach outside the box and actually try new stuff, because you never know what you might discover. And I actually picked up Hoshigami and then Cardia, which is the other one that I plan to try very soon. There's so many games on the PlayStation 1 that I never had experience into the last couple years, and some I grew up playing, like this one. And you all know this one was coming at some point in the video, Legend of Dragoon. And of course, I have 3 copies. Yes, why do I have 3 copies? Because 1, variants. And then 2, you never know when the fuck something's gonna happen with a disc. And it's always good to have a backup of your favorite damn game. Now, I grew up playing this one. It is my favorite RPG of all time on PlayStation 1, from the additions to the stories, to the characters, the animations. It is a top-notch RPG that I cannot get enough of. And yes, I've played it multiple times over the years. I still actively do play it. Hell, I even bought it on PlayStation 5 just to get it because there's trophies on it. If they do a remake or a remaster, which I just hope it's a remaster, not a fucking remake, because I don't want them to screw anything up, I will buy it because, like I said, huge fan, I'm going to get it. But like I mentioned before, there's other games within the last few years that have literally opened my eyes to so many things I missed out on whenever I was growing up, because PlayStation 1 was honestly, for me, the golden era of RPGs, because this library is huge. There's 1,284 games in the library, and I have, I think, about 804 as of now, so I'm over halfway. Hooray! I finally reached my goal of 800. That was my goal for the year. Yeah, just a little side note for there. But anyway, one of the games that I experienced this year, which I'm not finished with and I was actively playing until I took a short break, because whenever you play RPGs, some of them are grindy, some of them are not. It just depends on what you're playing, and that will be Wild Arms. I had never played a Wild Arms game. I have this one, 2, 3, and 5. So I do want to experience them all because they're great games, kind of like a Western style RPG. Definitely unique. I love the mechanics. I love the story so far. Definitely makes me laugh at some points. So I'm really honestly glad that I went for a full PS1 collection, because who knows what I would have missed out on if I hadn't. Whoa. Growing up, I didn't just play RPGs. I didn't just play survival horror. I played other stuff too. Your girl likes to jump outside the box whenever it comes to gameplay, and especially whenever you're limited to stuff that you have. Because growing up, until I hit my teens, I had to rely on my dad to actually get PlayStation stuff. It was mainly stuff either he was interested in or we had a co-interest in. Because I actually attribute my love of PlayStation to my dad, because he's a big PlayStation guy and still is. So a couple of games that he actually bought that I didn't get, but I still fell in love with because, you know, I grew up with them, so you gotta play what the hell you got. Action Bass. And yes, this is my original copy that I grew up with as a kid. Now, like I mentioned before, I didn't have the PlayStation 1 fishing rod growing up. It would have been nice. I didn't know it existed until I got older. I played the hell out of this game. I loved it. It was so fucking cool. This was the only fishing game I had on PlayStation 1, but I played the shit out of it. And plus, I actually liked fishing growing up whenever I was younger. So this definitely was right up my alley whenever it comes to that. Now, another game that Dad actually got, which I love this one. This is the only one that we had whenever we were growing up, was Road Rash Jailbreak. Holy hell, this game was so fun. Racing on motorcycles, the FMV scenes were fucking hilarious. Some of the dialogue in that game is insane. Whacking people off the fucking motorcycle. Dude, this was a hell of a time and a cool ass ride. There's more to a system than just RPG, survival horror, FPS. You get the drift. What I said before. Your girl likes to reach outside the box, as I said, and I can say it over and over again. So there's other stuff that I like to play too, and there's some weird ass shit and some one-off stuff. It's definitely fun to go back to and explore, especially whenever you're playing with the community like I do. And case in point will be Family Feud. Now, I've played Jeopardy. I've played Wheel of Fortune. I've even played The Weakest Link on PlayStation 1, but nothing compares to this damn game. It's not just because Louis Anderson is in this game, which, oh man, Louis Anderson back in the day, he was so fucking funny. But this game is fucking rigged. I can't tell you how many times that we played, I give the right answer, and it fucking does not take it because it's not specific enough whenever it comes to the fucking answer. It is such a fun time to play with this and be like, ah, shit! And not winning fast money. I can't tell you how many times I lost that, but I have actually won fast money on this after many times of trial and error. Oh, so many laughs and so many memories made with this game. Now, one that I just recently got. Now, when it comes to racers, I will mention this quickly. I don't play a lot of them. I never knew a lot of them existed on PlayStation 1. Yes, I know about Crash Team Racing, you know, that, some of the mainstream stuff, and of course Gran Turismo, but this one I never knew about, and the cover art caught my damn eye. Gotta love that whenever cover art catches your eye. That's still a thing with me, is that's Miracle Space Race. Yes, look at those vibrant colors. Look at that. Those graphics. Some graphics on PlayStation 1 games, whenever it comes to cover art, are fucking hilarious. Think of Sweet Code and look at the cover art and look at the game. It's just like, what the hell? But I still love it because it's just how the 90s/early 2000s were. But this game is definitely a trip. It's literally out of this world. I bet this is going to be a trip down memory lane for most of y'all. Y'all remember the interactive samplers that came with your PlayStations? Holy hell. Demos were necessary for us until we got the stuff for Christmas or birthdays, or hoped that our parents bought us the game that we were asking for whenever it dropped at launch. And these would hold us off until then. I can't tell you how many times I played through demos until I actually got the actual game that I was waiting for, until, you know, Dad got it, or I had to save up money to get it, or whatever the case may be. Now, there were so many good demos on these. Like, for example, this is interactive sampler number 6. It has Parappa the Rapper, Hot Shots Golf, Bloody Roar, and NBA Shoutout 98, which are, you know, great games. Yes, sports games are great too. Sports games need love too. Which, by the way, I have played several sports games in my collection because I do want to play them all. And of course, this one is interactive sampler CD number 7. This one has Gran Turismo, Hot Shots Golf again, Tekken 3, and Blasto. Now, I will say that sometimes whenever it comes to demos, some of them were recycled onto other interactive samplers or other kinds of demos. You'll see that a lot because you're like, why is this on this one too? Because whenever you got PlayStation stuff back in the day, you know, you got one. You're not going to get like 10 of them. So naturally, you're not going to get the, you know, you're only going to get one demo. You're not going to get all these. And now that it's more accessible for us, since it's retro, we can get this kind of stuff, you know, for our collection to see what the differences are between those. But there was nothing like popping in a demo and seeing what it had on it waiting for us to play. Remember department store kiosks from Toys R Us, KB Toys, even Walmart, whenever we would play games, you know, with the controller, looking up at the TV like this. Oh, I can see it. Oh, I bet her neck's hurt now from that. I bet you remember those days. I sure do. And of course, what could be complete without a collection of some stuff from that day, from those days, like Toys R Us demos. Man, I'm telling you, I remember playing the kiosk stuff. Now, there are kiosk discs out there, but there's also exclusive demos out there for different places, and Toys R Us is one of those. Even Best Buy has a demo, and I'm not even going to talk about how much that is. $300? For goodness, this demo! No, I don't have it. It's a little bit much for me to pay for a demo. But man, something about having stuff like this for nostalgia's sake definitely sits right with me. Especially, I remember I didn't really go to Toys R Us a lot as a kid. I mainly went to KB. KB Toys was my jam. And of course, Electronic Boutique. And of course, you know, Game Crazy. I think it's Game Crazy or Game Craze. It was next to Hollywood Video. That's another one that I remember too. Just going in there, seeing all this shit, you know, renting a game or actually playing a game for a few minutes while your parents shopped. Or hell, even getting the game that day. Who the hell knows? But, you know, there's so many experiences that we had whenever we were younger that I truly miss from the 90s. Remember when we had to leave our PlayStation on all night long until we got one of these? I sure do. I was so happy when I finally got one to save my game. And yes, of course, this is third party. Ugh, yes, I have first party ones as well. But this is actually a nice little thing to actually keep them, to hold on to them. I've got more than those, trust me. Especially whenever you play a lot of retro stuff like I do on PlayStation, you gotta have multiple. Because I want to keep my saves for some games, especially my later ones, but they're gone now because I formatted the memory card playing Alone in the Dark. Oh, that was my own fault. But anyway, of course, you could actually add little stickers on these. And of course, there's so many different variants whenever it came to memory cards. Hell, there's even 2x memory cards that are bulkier than hell, you know, that performance made. These were definitely a game changer whenever you were playing your games back. It's not going to be a PlayStation video without talking about PlayStation Underground. You all know this was the cream of the crop whenever it came to demos. These were loaded with all kinds of cool ass shit, from cheats to inside scoops from the actual developers to demos that you can actually play, of course. And there was just so much stuff that was in these that actually made it worth it to actually get PlayStation Magazine. Man, I miss these a lot for various reasons. I like the little extras that they added for demos. I like the fact that we can actually see behind the scoops whenever developers were more open to talk about stuff like this. You know, they didn't give two rats ass. They were just happy and excited to talk about their games. And they were open to opinions. There's actually one demo that I showcased a while back that actually said, hey, tell us how we suck. Let us know. What can we have in it? Let's get educational. You may remember seeing these from the Angry Video Game Nerd whenever he played the Lightspan games. He's really the only one that I know that's actually talked about these. And of course, I wanted to experience them for myself, and I found a box that says Teacher 12. I don't know who had this, but hopefully they enjoyed them. I know I have as many as I played in this box. There's still a whole bunch that I haven't gotten to play. So basically, PlayStation wasn't just for enjoyment at home. It was actually for educational purposes too. I never had one growing up in my school, but if you did, that was fucking hella cool, because they have stuff like Fair Games Mathematics. They also have other stuff in here too. There's like a plethora of things. Stay and Play 3, Lonnie's Classroom. I don't know what the hell that one is. I haven't played that one yet. There's just like a lot of stuff in here whenever it comes to education that are really freaking fun to play. Some of these games are janky as shit, but I still love playing that kind of stuff because hell, it's fun. PlayStation 1 has always been a priority for me. I've always held it near and dear to my heart, and over the years, as I've gone for a complete PS1 collection, I've discovered many games that have made my top 20 games of all time that I've enjoyed playing, that I've made many memories with, and some games that I fucking hated, but still enjoy playing nonetheless. And that's one thing I enjoy about going for a full set, is that it's the memories you make and the games that you play that really mean a lot to you. And PlayStation 1 continues to be my favorite system of all time, and that will never change. And I hope you enjoyed the video, but until next time, happy birthday, PS1. This is from the PlayStation Girl. Game on!